Very good evening and welcome to Friday Night Football. It's a show where a couple of friends get together and we chat about football. So that's basically exactly what the mantra is with the show. That's exactly what the description is. I'm here today with Rushdie on his debut. Look here, there's a very important person watching this particular episode. So I hope that you don't get nervous on your debut. But welcome to the show. You're a Liverpool fan. I like to start with people on their debuts to find out how you became a supporter of your club. So do you want to go ahead and just tell me how you became a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, good evening to everyone watching, and to that very important person also. I'll see you on Sunday. um, Basically, I support Liverpool basically because my father supported Liverpool. Um, Growing up in the household, you would always hear the stories. This is one story always about how when Liverpool came to Cape Town, how they traveled to stand in the rain to watch Liverpool play. So yeah, it's because of them. He was always watching Liverpool, and I always watched. Even when I went to my granny's house when she looked after me, she would put on a video cassette of a Liverpool game, and I would sit on the bed quietly as a baby and just watch the game. So yeah, the addiction started at a very early age, and yeah, it's continued ever since.
Yeah, now that's obviously our biggest rivals, of course. I see Liverpool as the biggest rival. City, they're coming along. They're getting there. They're getting closer and closer to that, of course. I don't think it's long enough of success for us to be able to say that they are full on rivals. But from Liverpool's perspective, I mean, did you ever think when you guys went without so many trophies for so long? Did you ever think that maybe it's never not gonna turn around, or were you one of those believers as soon as Klopp walked in that things are gonna turn around?
Okay, you're referring to the Premier League now because we did pick up some small trophies, but yeah. um, Yeah, we had more belief when Klopp came, but the difficulty was still at the time he came. If you look at the starting lineup of when he took over, Mignolet and Balotelli and all the people were still there. So the difficulty was for him was at that time you still had the spending power of City and Chelsea and Manchester United, obviously. So we had belief that you could do something, but for him to overcome those clubs spending power, our owners are very tight with their budgets. So yeah, we had the belief it was more a matter of when, but we didn't know how long we could say. But I was confident that before he left the club, we would at least have one Premier League to show for it. And now we're greedy for more before he leaves. So yeah, hopefully he can bring another one in before 2024. I think he's leaving. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll see, maybe. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest here because I try as the host here to be neutral as possible. Like I love United, everybody knows that. But when it comes to Klopp, I was a big fan of Klopp until he went to Liverpool. So I was like, I was mad about the way he managed his passion and everything. I could see him in United as a coach. At that particular time, of course, and obviously now with him being at Liverpool, I could obviously never see him at United. But I mean, there's something special about Liverpool with regards to Champions League, and obviously our title of the show is obviously about the Champions League. Um, I think the way you guys perform in Champions Leagues, that obviously would have given you guys that feeling of we close, we're getting closer and closer to be able to win that Premier League title.
Yeah, actually, when we won it in 2005, and then the first thing that came into my mind was, okay, after this, we're gonna get some place in, and then we're gonna go for the Premier League, and then just never materialized. Uh, and it was like, I mean, like 15 years. So very good. So yeah, the thing is, we've always been in Europe, especially from the Rafa days, competitive in Europe. Obviously, it's very difficult to win the Champions League. You can see even with Ferguson, all the years he's been with it, he only has won it twice. So yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, but the thing also why I believe we are so competitive in Europe is because club completely disregards FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. You can see every single season. Sometimes he doesn't even attend those matches. Like he just doesn't care about this. You'll see the lineup next week. How much attention he actually puts on that game. So his main targets since he's been at the club has been the European trophy. When he came in, he was in Europa, so he had to go for that. But since he's been in the Champions League, he's only been geared towards the Premier League and the Champions League. So yeah, so that's why we've under him we've done quite well. No, last year we went out in the round of 16 to Atletico. Oh no, sorry, the quarterfinal to Atletico. But generally, we've always been doing well in Champions League. I mean, we have to run all the way to the final, and then to dust ourselves off from that Salah injury, and the following year to do it again. So it just shows the character within the squad. And this year, the Champions League looks quite open. So I mean, even PSG, you think with all the names they have, it would finally be the year, but it was not played on paper, and they even struggled during the week. So it's up to everyone to win.
Mhm. Now, Rushdi, I hope you have a go at everybody in the group because we have a private group, and we added a few of new Liverpool fans in here, but it seems like only the Man United fans want to turn up. So we've got Ravi in the back here with us. Welcome to the show, Ravs. A familiar face, obviously, on our other channel. You'll know Cricket Fanatics Magazine is always there. So your debut too. I'm trying to be the neutral one here, man. So if you want to go ahead as a United fan and just have some fights here with Rushdie, it'll be liquor. It will cause a nice vibe, I think, on the channel. But I have to give, no matter how much I despise Liverpool from a United fan perspective, I still respect them as a club. And it's very difficult to do something like that when you look at a team getting success and you not getting that success as a United. But Ravi, we always start with debuts. Um, just give me your background quickly on how you became a United fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to football legacies in this country, it's always a case of who did your dad support, who did the generation prior to that. And we very much were a Man United family. And Rusty will be delighted to know that I followed suit with that. And so much so that I married into a Liverpool family. So there's Anfield posters all over at my in-laws' place. And yeah, I always catch it from them every weekend. I certainly caught it on Tuesday night from everybody. I was told chirps like "boys to men" and I'm a young man all over again, and things like that. So I think we certainly have a bit of banter going. I will say that some of my wife's cousins and stuff like that, they still under the impression that Steven Gerrard is playing. So I think I kind of needed to re-educate them on who's actually in the squad right now. To Khalid's point, game recognizes game. I think the history certainly speaks for itself. If you think back to the times of Ian Rush, Liverpool were by far one of the more formidable teams of the years, and I think that's why there's so much momentum going into the rivalry between United and Liverpool because there's so much history, so much legacy there. They've always produced, both sides have produced fantastic players, and it's always good to see them turn up the level of competition between the two teams, especially on a Premier League Sunday or so. But yeah, no, I've always been United in the good times and the bad. I remember my very first Liverpool United game was watching. I think John Barnes managed to score the opening goal against United, and I think United responded with three goals throughout the rest of the game. I think Cole, Sheringham, and I think Roy Keane, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong, but I remember John Barnes hitting the first one.
Now I'm going to call. I'm really going to have a go at all of the Chelsea fans in our group because none of them have come to the party in the first Opera too, right? Ruchi's standing alone here. They say you never walk alone, but they leave him alone. So I don't understand how this works with the Liverpool fan base. They were talking big all week. Ravi, didn't we see memes? Didn't we see them talk in the group the whole week? And they leave Ruchi on his own to fight against us. So I think let's just have some proper football talk now, and let's leave the Liverpool United rivalry aside. Let's talk about this last week in the Champions League. And Rushdie will be smiling because of the way United lost to Young Boys. I've got my own opinions about that particular game and about the way things went. And that special person that you're speaking about, Rushdie, we have debates about United all the time. So, like, I'm already going to be probably shooting myself in the foot over here when I speak about this. But my honest opinion is, and I'm a Ollie inner. I've been an Ollie inner from the start. I've never been Ollie out, not once at any point. I've always used the example of there are certain coaches that are tacticians and that are all about tactics and the way you play football and style of football. And then there are good man management type of managers that make sure that the dressing room is good, making sure that the players' mentality is right, and motivating players to take that next step and building a winning mentality from that perspective. Now, I see Ollie more like that because similarly, Ferguson was that type of manager too. A type of guy that actually knew how to get the best out of his players at specific times and getting them to react. And whenever you listen to the likes of the ex-players that played with him, like Patrice Evra and likes of Ferdinand and all of the guys that played under him, Beckham, etc., they will always speak about how he would say the right thing to get them motivated to do something. I've never heard him talk about his tactics and the way he pulls around players and into different positions and this is formation and false nines and all of this stuff. Back in the day, he played a very basic style of football. You know, the 4-4-2 was one of the main type of formations that he really went with. And it was about motivating those players. And he did weird things, crazy things. Like sometimes you'd see John O'Shea playing flipping on the top of the field as sometimes. It's crazy the stuff that he's done. At the beginning, we hear about Darren Fletcher. I watched the podcast of Darren Fletcher on MUTV where he spoke about he started on the wing. That's where he started in his early career and on the wing, which is weird for a guy that we know that is probably one of the most hardworking midfielders we've had at the club. But let's just talk about it because I think that United fans are very reactionary. You beat Leeds and everybody's like, we're going to win the league. 21's coming. We draw. Oh no, Ollie out. The players are crap. This player's crap. That player's crap. Then we beat Newcastle. We beat Wolves with a 1-0. We scraped through that game. Ollie out. We're not even playing this. We're not playing this person, that person. Then again, we beat Newcastle 4-1, and then everybody's again, Ollie in. So like we lose to Young Boys. Now everybody's Ollie out again. He's a PE teacher. I think we're very reactionary. I like to look at matches individually and try to see what went wrong. Sometimes it can be the players that made mistakes, and that's the reason why you perform poorly. Sometimes it can be the manager. Sometimes it's a combination of both. In this particular match, everything went wrong. Like literally everybody's to blame, including Ollie. So in this particular game, because I think that certain subs that he made, I would have, for example, kept on Van der Beek. In that, I'm talking about specifically how he managed the game and how the senior players manage the game, because you take off the one person that can possibly keep possession for you. And that was the main thing when you were with 10 men is you need to keep the ball, especially with a team that presses so high and has energy in them. This was bound to happen that people were going to concede a goal. So I think that is maybe the one mistake he made. I agree with all the other subs, actually. I think the low was a perfect sub at the time to bring that back five, to get that level, to level the game so that we can at least defend better. I thought Varane was the right time to bring him on it and go to a back three so that at least we can push up with our fullbacks. Unfortunately, we didn't because they had majority of the play and the ball. So I blame everybody in that particular match. But then again, it was a red card that changed the whole game and you can't really control that. And ultimately, Wan-Bissaka needs to learn from that because it was a red card. There's no matter what anybody wants to say. I saw some people on Twitter saying, "Oh no, it wasn't," but delusional. It was red. So from that perspective, I'm being very harsh, but that's the truth when it comes to United. That in that particular game, everybody was to blame. But it's one match. We still have a whole tournament still to go where we can actually still end off top of the group. Rishi, before you go to Liverpool and the way you guys clinical performance, you could say it's been back and forth. Obviously, it's been back and forth, yes, but ultimately you should have won the game against AC Milan. I mean, AC Milan's not a team of old like we used to know. They have a couple of good players, but they're not that same team that we all knew. So when I saw the group initially, and I saw some Liverpool fans tweeting, "Oh my God, we in the group of death." I was like, "Nah, you very much fine." I wasn't really worried when I looked at it. I was actually like, "Flip, like Liverpool can get through this easily." Actually, that was my mindset. But AC Milan do still play good football. But before you get to Liverpool, I just want to get your take on what I said about Oli, what I said about the Champions League performance from a neutral level, from a Liverpool perspective. Obviously, you don't have the United blinders on.
Yeah. Yeah, as Liverpool fans at the moment, we are biased towards Ollie in because we think he's doing a great job at the moment. Yeah, actually, I don't. It's not how it used to be for me. I don't actually go on that much when United lose such a game because it's a different story if that was a semi-final or quarter-final. But the first group stage, I mean, yeah, you have a joke or two, but I know the bigger picture. There's 5 games left. It's it's the likelihood of that happening again. It's like second to none. Even though we saw last year with the Istanbul, you thought they would learn from that game, but it was almost a carbon copy, just different events, but the same disappointing performance. Yeah, the Oli. I don't know what to make of Oli. Sometimes you see him go up against the big teams, and then usually his job is on the line, and then he pulls out these results. He pulls out the tactics, counter-attacking, superb pressing from everyone in the team. They win the game. City at the Etihad, Chelsea no problem. Then against the smaller teams, he just can't seem to break them down when they play a low block. Or a lot of people say that they just relying on individual brilliance. Bruno FC last season. Now it's going to turn into Ronaldo FC probably. So yeah, I don't know. I don't actually care that much whether Oli in or Oli out. But to me personally, if I was in charge of United, I would have got rid of him after the Europa League final. Because in the first place, you see, like because of Twitter, this is where you get all those reactions and social media. I couldn't understand how when you were in the Champions League group last year when you were beating PSG and stuff. People were saying that they would rather not be in Europe than be in the Europa League, right? At that stage. Then when you were in the Europa League all of a sudden became the Champions League in terms of the way it was hyped up, and now Oli can finally prove his worth. He made it to a final, but he proved actually that he can't play with the big boys because he got dumped down to the Europa. And then he still went and lost the final, and then he got a new contract. I would have made the change then. But also, you can't just make a change if you don't have someone to bring in. So I don't know who was available at the time. Maybe Zidane, but apparently Zidane wanted to break from football a bit. So yeah, we'll see. But that's basically my take. The performance on Tuesday for me was a once off. Not the once off in terms of we won't see it again for the rest of the season. I think you have these games, maybe one every 6 games or so. But in terms of the Champions League itself, I think you'll win the next one and then you'll just kick on from there.
Ravi, do you share the sentiments? I mean, where do you stand with Oli?
No, much like you, Khalid, I'm only in, and I'll explain why. I think over the years, we've seen various coaches take the mantle, from Moyes to Van Gaal to Mourinho. Everybody had a different style. One was aggressive, one was very defensive, but no one was really grew the team per se. I know Jose managed to get us to second with a 15-point deficit, and we actually won the Europa that particular year. And I know Jose basically said that was like a teacup in a manner of speaking. But the reality is that I think Ole, with his intervention, this team has grown from strength to strength. There seems to be a lot more reliance, seems to be a lot more trust from the United bench, from the United main roster on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think what we're also forgetting the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo, as great a player as he is, a lot of the players are going to rely heavily on Ronaldo. Ronaldo's going to clamp down quite hard on the guys. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a very quiet dressing room at the end of the young boys' game as well. So in a very strange way, I think Cristiano Ronaldo plays that role of like an extra, I would say like a elder statesman slash coach as well, where he's going to clamp down on the guys to say, no, this is not the desired performance level that I've set out over the years, and I expect better from the team, and rightfully so. The man is a multi-time Ballon d'Or winner. But coming back to your comment about Ole, I feel that the board, the whole unit basically looked at the entire macro environment and they realized, look, we can drop Ole now and start the rebuild process again and go back, 3 years in the process. Or we can commit with Ole, get him the right players. And I think what you've seen in the last season, give it the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, we've seen United actually supplement the number of the gaps they've had over the years. I told you this at the beginning of the season, Khalid. I always felt that Man United, for the first time in a long time, have a much more competitive team than what was the case when David Moyes took over. Um, I would say they're 90% of the way there, with the exception of the missing gap in the form of a centre defensive midfielder. We haven't had a proper centre defensive mid since the time of Michael Carrick and company. And I felt that that is a vital cog in the wheel. We've got a right winger, we've got a striker, and we've got a fantastic youthful side that's coming up every week. Greenwood, for me, is going to be one of the standout players of the season. Cristiano Ronaldo, without question, is going to be a standout player, but I think Greenwood is going to play a vital role as much as Bruno Fernandes as well. You're going to see that more and more. If anybody is an FPL fan, you'll see that in the stats that pulls up. It might not be the most accurate counter, if you will, but you find that Greenwood has been a significant playmaker. He scored vital goals at the very last minute as well, and I think he's going to play an incredible role in the Champions League. Only time will tell. I think it's still early days. People mustn't, blow things out of proportion. First game in the Champions League, as Rushdie quite rightfully said, it's still the early part of the season. We'll just have to see how this unfolds itself.
Okay, and let's move on to some of the other fixtures, and let's start with Liverpool. When we're talking about the other teams within the Premier League, your thoughts on the performance? Your thoughts on not having a recognized striker? Maybe does that worry you for the rest of the season? I mean, obviously Salah is ridiculous, so I don't think it's as big as a worry personally.
Yeah, the worry is because of all the injuries that happened last season. It's like in most Liverpool's minds that what if that happens again? And then that is why so many of us wanted that extra signings in the summer so that we can have that backup if something does happen. We already saw Firmino injured. We saw Origi struggling with cramp on Wednesday night. So yeah, I'm not really the only thing I'm worried about the forwards in most of our games, besides the Chelsea game, is that we're wasting so many chances and we're wasting so many openings and opportunities. Our decision making in the final third is very poor. Even against AC Milan, the game should have been done in 25 minutes. And we always seem to be leaving the door open. I don't know if we obsessed or in love with giving the fans drama, but
Or with
just
Bruno Mars.
it just always seems to go in that direction where we take the lead and we don't kill the team off, and they have a spell all of a sudden in the game, and they just score with their first header, like Kai Havertz. Milan score with their first attempt at goal, and then all of a sudden we level and we don't know what is happening. So that is the only concern I have. Um, I don't think we actually. I would love a striker like a Lewandowski, that type of player, but The ones we have at the moment, if they can just improve the decision making, especially Sadio Mane at the moment, it seems to be most of the time that he's killing our attacks when it does break down. He's overeating or he's just making it on. He's dilly-dallying on the ball. He doesn't seem that confident as he used to be. But yeah, I'm not that concerned, except with killing the game off. Yeah, the game on Wednesday was what a introduction to the season of the Champions League. Like we started exactly how you would expect to start at home, European night at Anfield. All the cliches were coming. Take an early lead, you get the penalties. Salah never misses from penalties. 17 in a row. All of a sudden he misses. Even from there, we still go on to create openings and chances, and we just don't get that second goal. Milan out of nowhere, two very well worked goals, I must say. And then yeah, at halftime actually came at the right time for us because the way it was going in that last 5 minutes, they could have easily scored another one before the break. So yeah, then once it was halftime, I felt confident that we wouldn't lose the game because obviously I know the manager will have his say at halftime, and you could see when they came out the second half, it was just wave after attack. I can't remember Allison making a save in the second half actually, even with Giroud on and whatever they tried to do. So yeah, I'm glad to get the first game out of the way. And I do think the group, even though AC Milan was not the AC Milan, they do have a lot of young talent. Zlatan was a big miss for them on the night. Just, I mean, if you could bring him on from the bench, that experience, that ego that he brings with him would have even lifted them because now they were 3-2 down. I mean, they would have lifted the players even to push even harder. But the other two teams in the group also, Atletico, we know our struggles with them, low block, we struggled to break them down last season. Porto also very familiar with us, and they're not the same kind of Porto. They actually should have beaten Atletico. So it's not the group of death in the sense of Man City, PSG, Bayern Munich in the same group type of thing, but it is a very competitive group. And you don't have a group with like a Young Boys in or Malmo or Arsenal or something where you can afford to rest players. You have to play a competitive team every game. And that is also why I was a bit concerned with the transfer window because it closed after the Champions League draw, yeah. So you could see that we're not going to have this weak team in our group where you can rotate. Every game is going to be competitive, and our squad is a bit thin at the moment, but everyone's fit at the moment, so there's no point in dwelling on a what if they get injured. Everyone's fine at the moment. When everyone was fine in 2019, we just steamrolled the league. So hopefully that can happen again.
It's hilarious that you mentioned Arsenal. I've been reaching out to so many Arsenal fans. None of them want to come on the show and talk.
Yeah,
I
but
was like,
they're just a mess at the moment. So yeah.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there. They are proper worries. If I pick out another game, let's pick out another game. Let's talk about Chelsea. I know a lot of people are tipping Chelsea for the title actually this season. I've heard a lot. I mean, they were my choice because I feel that they were the most complete team from start to finish, from the top to the end. They are the goalie is a little bit extravagant sometimes and sometimes, but I mean, other than that, I think they have two full squads at the moment that I feel that can play. City similarly, but their strikers, obviously they're missing out that big name striker, but I think Jesus can do a brilliant job for them if they play more. I mean, Pep is probably a massive frustration for like FPL managers because you never know who he's going to pick. Like, is this guy going to start? Is he not going to start? You're sitting there, maybe he gets 20 minutes, 60 minutes, sometimes a 90. You never know what team is going to take that field. So I think the only surety is the goalkeeper and maybe the goalkeeper really. That he's going to definitely start every single game. But I mean, I wasn't very convinced by Chelsea. I think they in their Champions League match, I watched the game. I think the goal versus Lukaku was excellent, and that's what they added. Because if Lukaku wasn't there, that would have just looked like it was just going to be another 0-0 draw or something, or maybe a 1-0 to the opposition. So I know from that perspective, I think I wasn't really impressed by Chelsea in this particular match, but I think that they will kick on. It's still long in the tournament, like we say about every other team. It's still long in the tournament. They will kick on and get momentum. It's not easy to suddenly change, because you do have to change your play to an extent to fit Lukaku into your team, because he becomes the sole man up front and the main guy that you build your team around. They're going to have to do things a little bit better. When Alonso starts whipping those balls in, and James starts whipping those balls in, and maybe Aspilicueta, when he does get chances to start, whips those balls in, they're going to become a proper force to be reckoned with. They already are steamrolling a lot of teams. They bully teams, and that's really scary. It's like the Chelsea of old under Mourinho. They used to bully teams, like physically, and they look like they can do that now. I do still think that obviously Kante has to come back into the team again more regularly again, and he's back now and again playing more often. That makes a massive difference to their whole team. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the world, personally. What was your guys' thoughts on Chelsea? I'll go to Ravi first, and then Rushdie. And also, Rushdie, I want to ask you as well. What is your top four? You can say that after you're done with your Chelsea assessment.
Okay. Let me go. Ravi, you gonna go first?
No, you can go first. Shoot.
Okay, yeah. So Chelsea's game, yeah, I wouldn't worry. The thing with Chelsea is just the squad they have everything. Or they seem to have everything now that they've gotten the striker, the Raul on loan for the midfield. So Chelsea, they do have those games every now and again, especially in the Champions League. If you notice them over the years, they always seem like they have a home fixture, and then they don't quite perform to the level that you expect, but they get the result. And the current squad, ever since Tuchel's came in, they concede very little goals. So if you don't concede, you just need one at the other end, which is exactly what they did on Tuesday. So yeah, for me, Chelsea is the favorite for the league, just because of their squad and because of their hunger. They have the Champions League. They've never gone more than 4 years, I believe, somewhere around that, without winning the Premier League. So they will be all guns blazing going for that Premier League this season, and it just showed in their display in the second half against Liverpool, when they were down to 10 men. You could see how much effort and how much that point made to them. It's like they won the game the way they celebrated afterwards, because they know how big that result that was, and it just shows that the hunger, the desire they have this season. I think they will be. That's you asked for my top four. I think Chelsea top. I think Liverpool will be second. I think City will be third, and United fourth. But I don't think there will be a lot of the points gap between them won't be as high as it's been in the last few seasons, with teams running away with the league, or the top three settled on the last day. The fourth team still has to battle. I think it will be a lot closer, maximum maybe 7 points. But yeah, City, I think eventually the striker up front is gonna come back to haunt them. They still seem to sometimes have 99% of the ball without scoring on certain occasions. So yeah, they get their breakthrough. They deserve their wins. They just seem slightly different this season. But yeah, they lost their first game, and then they got 11 goals in 3 games. So yeah, they also have a squad where in the Carling Cup, the team they put out is probably good enough to challenge for the top 4 in the league. That is the embarrassment of riches that they have. So yeah, yeah, that's my top 4 for the season. I don't really see Leicester challenging again. I think they will end 6th, and I think Spurs or Everton will take their place in 5th this season.
Interesting. Ravi, you want to pick a game from the week that maybe stood out to you from one of the other Premier League teams? We basically mostly cover Premier League teams over here, so I'm not going to go too much into the other leagues because I don't watch it really. So if you guys want to go ahead and chat about other teams, you're welcome to do so. But I'm probably not going to lead that conversation necessarily unless I've watched the game. So from your perspective, I mean, I watched a bit of PSG. They look pretty flat to me. I love Under Herrera. Like, I wanted him back at United again, and
I'm
I was
actually
sad when
watching
he
him
left.
right now. I'm actually watching that game right now. Well, this is Champions League, but I saw Herrera pulled one. He scored the opening goal in the Champions League, if I understand correctly.
Yeah,
I think because I thought he looked very familiar. He's looking pretty good there.
yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. I think in terms of the Premier League games, I'm just glad for Arsenal's sake they managed to score a goal and get some points on the board. So it's good to see some points from our friends in London, in North London. Get some points on the board because I was a bit worried about them for a while. But other than that, jokes aside, I think coming back to the comment about the top four, I would actually agree with Rushdie that Chelsea are certainly the favourites. In fact, you as well, Khali. I think Chelsea are certainly the favourites. They made wholesale changes in the last year. They didn't have a striker that was firing up front that was actually a threat. And I think Lukaku has made a major difference in that respect. The thing about Lukaku I miss the most about him from a United point of view is that one thing about Lukaku is you guarantee to score a goal from at least the side sitting at seventh place going all the way down to the bottom. He was always that guy, the mainstay. He would score against those guys. And I think there was a missing cog in the wheel, if you will, when he departed for Inter Milan all those years back. And I think he's going to do wonders in the Premier League, and that will probably be a standout, a differentiator, if you will, in a manner of speaking. Top four, though, I would say that Chelsea are the favourites. Two, City, United, three. I'm going to put Liverpool at four because I think I think that the injuries may possibly catch up with them. I'd say that with reservation though, because I think Virgil van Dijk was a missing cog in Liverpool's wheel last season, and the fact that he's back in and looking quite strong right now does
I mean,
pose
the
him
whole
as quite a
defense,
significant threat. No,
the whole
the guy's
defense
a
was
good
gone
one.
last season.
No, but
Like, I mean,
Virgil's brilliant. I'll say this. We thought our answer to Virgil van Dijk, or the equivalent of Virgil van Dijk, was Harry Maguire. And I guarantee you there's polarizing differences between both those players.
I don't think that
Varane,
people thought that, but okay.
Varane on the other hand, I think will play a massive role in United's defense. Certainly will help the Gay out immensely. And then the guy is just a great counter-attacking footballer. I think it's just a matter of just seeing him sort of mature in that role for United. He's just playing exceptionally well right now. He started off quite well. I've got no complaints about Varane right now.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna pick another game. I found it quite funny because I saw a video on social media and I've seen some tweets as well. And I hate Twitter, but sometimes it's you can't hide away from it when you're doing some business tweets
I
and things like that.
love it. Love it.
Yeah, of course you love it. I know you love Twitter. Yeah, you like controversy. But anyway, so like when I look at when I looked around, I heard a lot of Barcelona fans coming around and they're like, I saw this one particular video of this girl. Actually, I don't know if people saw it on TikTok. She was like, I just realized today that I wasn't a Barcelona fan. I was a Messi fan. So I was like, so I was listening to this girl give her a little bit of a speech. She's like, I don't think I was a Barcelona fan. I was a Messi fan. All the years I was a Messi fan.
That's why I don't go onto TikTok, Khalid. I don't listen to those children. I don't
And then
listen
she's
to
like,
them.
so she's like, the way this team's playing, is nothing like the way Barcelona. I might be quoting her wrong here, but ultimately she said at the end, "Go PSG." So at the end of the video, so she's now moved to PSG to support PSG now. So I mean, it's just one of those situations with Barcelona. I mean, you see, when it comes to football clubs, and when it comes to me personally and my view on it, I believe that there are certain special clubs that have a sort of DNA in the way they play and the way their history is and the way they are as a football club through the times. It's always been a certain way of play or a certain philosophy that has carried them. I think Barcelona is one of them. I think Man United is one of them. Arsenal used to be that, like with the style of play they try to play, but I don't know. They're just making stupid decisions when it comes to transfers. I think that's the biggest problem is the recruitment. if they gave Arteta the type of players that can fit in the style of football that he wants to play, perhaps he'll play a little bit better than he's currently doing. They kind of give him players instead of asking him who he wants. Really, I feel that's how what it comes across like. But there are a couple of players a couple of teams that have that DNA. Like the Man United has the United way. I always speak about the United way, and it's a philosophy of the way Matt Busby played, the way Sir Alex played football. And I know because Sir Alex was there for 26 years, it's obviously you can't say now suddenly, but he's bred that or built that type of ethos into the club. Now Barcelona similarly, Johan Cruyff is their philosophy basically. The way they play the tiki-taka football, keeping possession, that's the glamour style of football that they play. And I never saw Koeman as that type of manager. Whenever I saw him at other clubs, I never saw him as that type of manager that goes manage in that way. I feel that he's going to get exposed because it's his way and the highway kind of. He's that type of manager. He's very authoritative in the way he takes over clubs. So I wouldn't say it's a shock that they lost to Barcelona, that they lost to Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich is a flipping excellent team. We've seen they've dominated Europe for the last 10, 15 years. Maybe not 15, but the last 10 years at least, they've been completely dominant in world football. One of the teams that people are trying to live up to because of the way they recruit, the way they continuously breed success. Even though their league is not maybe as strong as the Premier League and maybe La Liga, they still turn up at the European stage every single time. And yes, they have great players, but they also grow their own. So Bayern Munich, to an extent, also have that type of ethos where they grow their own German local talent and they put them into the team, and then they make a couple of signings to complete the puzzle. And they play that type of very exciting wing-back type of play. They've always done that. They've always had great wing-backs. Always. Like when I used to play FIFA or Football Manager, I used to go to Bayern Munich and look for one of their left backs or right backs or the junior left backs and right backs if I could find them, because they just seem to produce and find them all the time. So it wasn't a really big shock, but I think it was a wake-up call for Barcelona fans to just realize, look here, guys, we are actually not the same team that we were. It's going to take us some time to probably get there again. So yeah, anyway, let's move on from that. I mean, I'm going to talk about City smashing Bruges. Who did they play? Not Bruges. They played
Leipzig.
Leipzig. Yeah, Leipzig. PSG played Bruges, and they drew. Like exactly, you get people going up at United and losing to Young Boys is bad. Yes, but I feel that result was just as bad. Just saying. Messi didn't even score in the match. Ronaldo did. Let's just say that. But let's not get into that Ronaldo debate. I want to go to the main topic of the show to end of this conversation, and that is, what is the greatest Champions League game that you've ever experienced? Now, I made it what's the greatest Champions League match of all time. But I think that's subjective to you. I think I don't necessarily think some people may think that particular game that we talk about with Liverpool, that excellent comeback that they did so long ago in the 2005 when you guys won it. That particular comeback was one of the greatest matches, some people say. I mean, me personally, I wasn't old enough to be able to remember me watching the treble-winning Champions League final. But I went back, because I have MUTV, so I went back to watch it from scratch. I think the way that match felt for me, the fact that we weren't in the game at all, and then we come out with a win against a bloody good team as well, I think that was an incredible match, but that's only if you're a United fan, really, and you die hard. But let's pick our best one. What is your best, Rushdie? And then Ravi, you can end it off.
Yeah, my best is that final, and it's not just the comeback. It's about who the comeback was against. Like I know on the top of my head, Dida was in goal, Jaap Stam, Nesta, Maldini, Gattuso, Seedorf, Pirlo, Kaká, Crespo. That team lost a 3-goal lead, and it's not only that we picked them back to 3-0. From the time when it was 3-3, we had to still keep them out through the rest of the game and extra time. They call it the miracle of Istanbul, and because that is what it was. I mean, on our side, it was probably only Gerrard and Xabi Alonso that can probably speak to that caliber of player. Yeah, and yeah, it just goes to show that football isn't played on paper. I think Jurgen Klopp said in one of his first interviews that the reason why he loves football is because on any given day, any set of 11 players that you put out can beat the other set of 11 if you just apply the right tactics, the right desire. So that was just one of those games. I mean, for me, actually, from Liverpool, I think the best moment in Champions League is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's winner, just as a single moment, because I also know that Bayern Munich should have won that game. Like Liverpool recently, they didn't kill that game off. You leave the door open, and that's what happens. So for a single moment, I mean, that was the goal that clinched the treble. So a single moment that would the best moment ever in Champions League. But for me, the best game just the Champions League and it's a final. There's no margin for error. You're 3-0 down. To come back with that team against that AC Milan team, one of the best AC Milan teams in history, was just unbelievable. But then also, there's another game, the Man City vs Spurs game, 2019, around that time, the second leg at the Etihad. That was one of the best games I've watched. Also, Champions League with I think it was Aguero that was offside in in injury time. Oh, that was one of the best Champions League games also. But obviously, it doesn't top the winning at the in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, of
But yeah,
course. Yeah, I mean, because for United, I don't think there's many great memories for United. It's only the Champions League when we clinched the treble, and then the one with Chelsea was penalty. So it doesn't really. I mean, that was hard, that was amazing to win it. It felt good, but it wasn't necessarily one of those matches where I'll say like, you know what I mean, that I wouldn't want to say like, oh my god, we played amazingly or whatever the case may be. It was back and forth over there. But when United, I mean, we've lost more finals. I think like we got destroyed in the final against Boston. I think if you weren't a United fan, I think maybe that final where Messi completely destroyed us twice in a row, basically. Like Barcelona destroyed us. We looked like amateurs. The last season when Ronaldo left, and also the season when Rooney scored the first goal, and then they went on to beat us. Like, I mean, I was heartbroken that day, like just because of the way we were bullied. I don't mind losing, but when you lose badly is when that's when I get upset, man. You know, I mean, if we were going for it and really played well and really put on a good show and then lost, then I would be like, I'll feel a little better. But when you put on a when you get completely destroyed, like bullied like that, yes, that Barcelona team was just unbelievable, like amazing to watch. Ravi, when you say that, what would be the best one you've watched or the best one you've experienced? It doesn't have to be United; it can be anybody. But what was the best Champions League match that you've have seen?
Look, there've been definitely a few. The without question, the '99 Champions League final, Ole and Teddy Sheringham absolutely pulling a rabbit out of the hat with that one. I was 16 years old and we celebrated to the early hours of the morning there. The old man certainly allowed me to do so. But I remember at school the next day, people were just pumped about it. That's all they were talking about, the football match. People rocking the jerseys used to get attention because we weren't wearing school uniforms, but we didn't care because Man United won the Champions League. Um, that aside, definitely the AC Milan Liverpool final in '05, that was absolutely incredible because I wrote Liverpool off, like much like a lot of people. 3-0 down, no chance coming back. I mean, with the side that Rishi just described now, Crespo, Gattuso, Maldini, it's impossible to even consider beating them 3-0 down and then to go a level head and actually drop them 5-3 was sort of sort of unexpected. But I think we spoke about matches, but if you were to ask me about spectacular goal, it's actually as recent as 2018 when Gareth Bale played for Real Madrid and that Champions League final in 2018 against Liverpool. The bicycle kick from Gareth Bale, by far one of the most spectacular goals I've ever seen in my life. Because I've never seen him execute a bicycle kick in my life. And that was, I mean, and I don't think he even attempted the one before that, but that was just completely unexpected. Obviously, we saw what happened with Karius, I think 30 minutes prior to that. But that for me was one of the more bizarre things. So Liverpool actually went into that match as the favourites. But Gareth Bale, by far, one of the best goals I've ever seen before. And the last point, you mentioned Barcelona United. I remember Wayne Rooney's screamer in the 2011 Champions League final. I think it was a good like 20 odd yards outside the box. And I thought, okay, United have got a shot here. And then come the second half, Lionel Messi was like, okay, we've had enough game time now. Let's just like actually play football. And it's like watching these guys like, playing an under 15 United team. I was just mesmerized by that. And I remember being in Joburg distinctly on that one evening, and it was flooded with Barcelona fans. We were at News Cafe in Santon, flooded with Barcelona fans, and I was a solitary Man United fan in there. You think with a population of so many Indians in Johannesburg, you think that you'd see some United shirts that would stick out. Not one. It was just Barcelona, Barcelona, Barcelona. It's like there's like an Indian part of Barcelona that we never even knew about. But they would always rock the away Barcelona top for someone. I don't know what it is about them and the Indians and the away Barcelona top, but that's what was going down in 2011. And Lionel Messi made us look like a bunch of idiots. But Rooney's goal, spectacular, by far. Probably the best goal of the night, but again, Messi was just making us look like a bunch of kids.
The Bale bicycle goal is probably
Okay.
his goal and Zidane's goal against Leverkusen, probably the best two final goals that there's been. Everything went wrong for Liverpool that night, so yeah, the goalkeeper threw a ball in, and yeah, our best player on the night got injured. Gareth Bale probably won't score another goal like that. Just everything went right for Madrid and wrong for us, but yeah, at least the following year, at least we sort of made up for that defeat in a way.
But anyway, let's wrap it up, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. Thanks, Rusty, for coming on the show. Ravi for coming on the show. I hope you guys come again next week again and come have a chat with us again. We'll hopefully have a bigger panel for you guys. And we'll think of a nice topic for you guys to chat to. Follow us on all social media to keep up to date with everything that we are doing as well, so that you know when the shows are, etc.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you guys again very, very soon. Take care.